Well, hello and welcome to our video tutorial. Today we're going to talk about audio. Movie Studio is very powerful when it comes to recording audio, manipulating audio. It really is quite a nice interface for all the listening applications that you may need. For instance, let's say that we are laying out a track here of our trip somewhere, and we'd like to narrate it, and we can do that right in this interface. We don't have to go to another program to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. First of all, we want to make sure, of course, that we have a microphone, hopefully a little better quality than just a regular PC microphone, but if it's in a pinch, you can, of course, use that. And we're going to go up here to options to make sure that our audio preferences are set properly. We'll go up here to the audio, and then we're going to go to the audio device, and I have the Microsoft Sound Mapper. Now I'm using an interface, an audio interface. I could go with that. I have the Alpha ASIO driver, but the Microsoft Mapper seems to work just fine, and most likely it will work fine for you. Another thing we want to check out is to go over here in our properties, and we're going to decide what resolution do you want to record your audio at. And we're going to go down here to properties here, and we're going to go to the audio tab. And we see that we have a stereo mode, and I have 48,000 for the resolution. The bit depth is 16, and the resample quality is good. Try these out. It's dependent on your sound card. If you have a sound card that does better than this, you may be able to crank up the resolution more. It's my understanding that this particular program can record at higher resolutions, but that, of course, depends on your sound card equipment. The highest I can go right now is 48,000, and that is just fine. So we're all set to go with that. Let's position our cursor at the beginning of our project here, and we're going to go down here to one of our sound tracks. And the one that's labeled voice is a good one to start. And we're going to arm our tracks, get it ready to record by pressing arm for record. Now, it's not recording yet, but you can see that the microphone that I'm using is the input is going through. You can see the sound level going up and down as I speak. So you know that you're getting good quality sound. Now, when we're ready to do our narration, I simply press record, and now I can record narration as I go. I can tell about the trip, say anything I want. If I make a mistake, I simply stop it, go back. Up here we have a little box that asks you where do you want to place this file at. It'd be a good idea for you to have a special folder somewhere where you know where it's at, where you can store any recordings that you make with Movie Studio. So I don't want this one. I want to start again, so I'm going to say delete right here. And it asks me if I want to make sure that I delete it. So I can simply arm this again. It's already armed, and then I press record, and I start all over again until I like what I get. Now remember, if you mess up during a recording, you don't have to start all over again. There are other ways to fix this. And we talked about this earlier in some of our tutorials about how to edit audio. And we can do that here. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to say done because I want to keep that take. I'm going to unarm my track here. And let's listen to what I have. Now you're going to be listening through the PC speaker, so it's not going to sound really good, but let's listen. But I can right-click on this, and I can edit it. And what we want to do is go up in the options, if you remember, and make sure that we have an audio editor in our preferences. So let's go to audio and look down here, and we do have one. So perhaps they're not allowing us, which is kind of unusual. There we go. Now we can open it in our audio editor. One of those funny mysteries of computers, I guess. And let's see what comes up here. Now, most of the time when you get Movie Studio products, you get the SoundForge Audio Studio. It's a very nice little program, and I would prefer that you use that. Audacity is another very good program. There's one thing about Audacity I really like is the fact that it has a very nice noise removal. You can use either one you want. You could open Audacity manually and throw the file in there if you want to. Okay, now we see that our waveform is set up here. Now for some reason on my interface I'm only recording on the left track, and that's a little distressing, but we can fix that. There's no big problem. Let's go up. First of all, you notice that the waveform is kind of small, the volume is kind of low. Fortunately, digital recording, we can amp that sound up quite a bit without any distortion. So I'm going to go to Process here and go to Volume, and I'm going to raise this up to about 300%. We'll see what that does here. 325, close enough. And we'll wait for that to do that. And you see the waveform pattern is a lot bigger now. We're just going to go ahead and save this as a mono file, which would mean that it's going to be on both tracks. It doesn't have to be stereo. And of course with voices, our voice is not stereo anyway, so that would be fine. I'm going to save this as, and we got to decide what folder to put it in so that we don't lose it. So we'll find a particular folder. I'll find the folder that I've been putting the audio recordings into, and I'm going to call this Voice Edited, just so we know what that is. Okay, we've saved that now. Now this will be an excellent opportunity for us to check and see if this is actually saved, this particular. If you mess up during, there we go. And sometimes the editor will not allow you to change recording, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So now we have our recording a lot louder now. We can do other things with it. We can go up here and we can actually add some effects to it. We can add chorus, all kinds of different things. Let's try one of these and see what we can come up with. And when you add an effect, it rather than change your original file, it's going to make another file. And this will be a good opportunity for us to show how to synchronize two files together. We're going to save that. And now we're going to go back up to our folder. I think that was Voice 1 Take 2. Let's listen to it to make sure that we have the right one here. Okay, that's the one we want. Now what we're going to do is take this file and put it directly underneath this one. Remember, they're both the same, but we have to synchronize them so that there's no disparity. Now we could also get rid of this one too, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to see if we can synchronize both of them together. Let's listen to this one. And that sounds pretty close. One of them is the original recording. One of them is the one that we have the chorus on. And if we have two files synced together, it's a good idea to make a group out of them so that they will never get unsynced, if that's a word. How do we do that? Well, we're going to select both of these by clicking on this one and then pressing down the Control key and clicking on that one. And then we're going to right-click and we're going to go to the group and create new. Now you notice what happens anytime I move the top one or move the bottom one, they're both in sync. They cannot get out of sync that way. And that's a good idea if you ever have to sync two things together. There are times, for instance, if I have a video and I don't want to mess up the original track on that video, I can open up a copy in my editor by simply right-clicking here, open copy in Audio Editor. I can change that copy, make it louder, add some effects to it, and then add that underneath my original, sync it up, and then create a group like I said so that it will augment the audio. That way I don't destroy the original. And sometimes that's a little safer to make sure that you don't do anything to the original audio. So that gives you a little idea and some things that you can do with the audio portion of this program. It does a very good job, and imagine being able to narrate some of your home movie videos of your trips, things of that nature. You can of course add music, all sorts of different effects to make your videos exciting so people don't actually fall asleep when they watch them.